You with us today, Stephen? How's it going with you?
Oh, it's pretty good. Ready for a fun-filled day, per usual.
Always.
Busy and fun-filled.
Yeah. What you got planned today?
I'm gonna do a highlight on the UCOR project at England Air Park.
Oh, nice.
So we got to look inside, and we got an update on what things and timelines people can expect. Huge project over there. It's the Rare Earth Elements Company, UCOR, and they're going to be using that huge storage warehouse, turning it into almost like a processing facility. And they hope that's the first step for the U.S. to take some of the rare earth market away from China, who controls about 90% of it.
Wow.
So they're hoping for that. Big project there. And there's a couple more things. We have some Discover Sin-Law segments, little cakes with big attitude.
Yeah.
We have fun over there with Robin and Bridget. They're super cool.
Sure.
And yesterday we had the Ambulance Advisory Committee meeting. Usually that's something that it's just kind of boring, but it's not here in Rapides Parish.
Right.
It's all basically an advisory committee to the police jury and an oversight committee for the ambulance provider, Pafford, here in Rapides Parish. They're the sole provider now. We had an Acadian ambulance employee who was the previous company for a long time.
Sure.
They came up and raised some concerns, so you can watch that report on my Facebook page.
What were their main concerns?
The main concern was over response times and how to define it. So at the last meeting last month, committee members were discussing, and Pafford was discussing, making the clock start at dispatch and ending at arrival when the ambulance gets to the scene. And some other people think, no, it should start whenever the call comes in. It's just these little details. Acadian ambulance employee says that the standard is when the call comes in, and that's how they did it for all these years. So if they think if Pafford starts it at dispatch, it's not going to be a fair timing compared to what they were held to. But Pafford says we try and take the time when we get the essential information and we know we can send out an ambulance. It's a lot of inside baseball talk too. And It's kind of confusing, but that's the discussion. Basically, the advisory committee is just taking this information and they'll give their, opinions to the police jury on how to maybe cut down on some of the ambiguity of what apparently the ordinance is giving people, because it's hard to be defined at this moment.
Okay.
And just some other things, but that was the main one.
Yeah.
Not to get in the weeds too much.
Right. Well, that's an issue that was political, still is political, will be political.
Everything
because it involves a lot of money too.
Lots of money.
Yeah.
And then you see the comments on my page, why do we need a sole provider? Why can't we have multiple providers? It's just a lot.
Yeah.
But that's where we're at with that situation. The committee is made up of, local stakeholders. They have someone from Cabrini, Rapides, LSUA has somebody on the board, some other local fire departments, chief of police in Pineville. So lots of stuff. Very interesting. We were the only ones there, so you have to get the report from us.
There you go. Well, keeping you hopping, that's for sure.
Yeah, it's fun. I enjoy it.
Well, good. That's why we brought you on.
Might go to the parish today. I don't know for sure. It's like a 50-50.
Oh, really?
I hate saying I might go somewhere.
Yeah.
I'm trying to for a story over there.
Right.
But lots of stuff to do here.
I was going to say, there's no shortage of things for you to do. We're finding out.
Hey, and the big news here, if you've seen our Facebook page, 8:05, the CEO of SunGas Renewables will be joining us on the phone to talk about the project over in Pineville. They want to give more of their side of the story. Of course, we've had people on here with concerns about carbon capture. So as me and you are dutiful journalists, we're bringing you both sides of the issue, and you can ask him questions. He's willing to take questions from the callers.
Okay. I imagine we'll get one or two.
I wonder if we'll get a question in.
Yeah, it's just a topic that continues to be very hot, especially in social media circles. See a lot of people still posting about it. There's another information meeting coming up on Tuesday, I believe, right? That's the one out in Pineville.
Yeah. Tupon Lodge.
Tupon Lodge.
I don't want to say the lounge, but it's the lodge. That's in DeVille. I plan on being there. I got to tell my wife I won't be home for dinner. I forgot to, but I plan on being there. It's at 6 o'clock. So.
All right. So yesterday, I thought it was kind of a busy news day once again, but I had a chance to kind of watch and listen to the victim impact statements in the trial, or the sentencing, I should say, of the guy who killed those 4 college students in Idaho.
Yeah, yeah.
I'm not even going to say his name because he doesn't deserve to have his name mentioned.
It's sad because I know the name off the top of my head.
Yeah. BK will be the initials.
Yeah.
But did you have a chance to watch or listen to any of it?
You sent me the article and I saw the headline, but I didn't listen to it.
My goodness, just especially one of the young ladies whose sister was killed. She just basically just slammed him for 5 minutes of, "You're pathetic, you're a loser."
Oh yeah.
You thought that you'd get away with this because you're so smart, but I mean, she just seriously went off on him.
Yeah.
I mean, and you can understand. I mean, that is the most soul-ripping thing that families have to go through.
And and especially somewhere like, Moscow, Idaho, because I mean, that's smaller than here, and it's just got it's got a little college over there and super tight-knit community, and when you have a serial killer on the loose, that was obviously a scary situation for them there. I'm glad he was caught and sentenced to life in prison, right?
Yeah, 4 life sentences.
Do they not do the death penalty, or was it part of a deal?
That was part of the plea deal.
Okay.
Now, they were seeking the death penalty, and the state agreed to a plea deal. And at the time, it was kind of unbeknownst to the families, which they were pretty upset about.
Yeah.
But, at least they had a chance to kind of have their say with him yesterday. And, man, like I said, just some of the ways that they were speaking to him, hopefully it makes them feel a sense of justice to some degree. But, a lot of them I was impressed by. They were talking about how ultimately it was going to be God who was going to judge him, and that he would have the vengeance one day. There was I think it was when the sister of one of the victims was talking, and she talked about what her little sister said, how this guy used to having nothing but A's in his life in high school and college, and now in prison he's going to have nothing but another letter.
Yeah, I know. Yeah,
I was like, okay.
Yeah, so, I don't know. I have a lot of opinions on the death penalty, but one thing I can say for certain is it's a good tactic to maybe getting something done quicker. Yeah, as leverage.
Right. Yeah, some people have very strong feelings one way or the other about the death penalty. If you're ever going to use a death penalty, I mean, to me, this is prime example number 1 of where it should be used, because it was a pretty clear-cut case and a horrific crime.
Pretty awful.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But my goodness. So
something you hope you never have to go through. And
right.
But yeah, like you said, very busy news day. It probably got swept under a lot of other things too. That story.
Yeah. And if you saw the White House press briefing with Caroline Leavitt, she brought in Tulsi Gabbard, and Gabbard got to speak for about 10 minutes to all the media, making her case about what's going on with what they've found about the original false Russia claims and those that were involved, including former President Obama. What is amazing to me, and we work in the media, obviously, and have worked in it for a long time, some of us longer than others. If you remember when this was all hot and the media were breathlessly, endlessly reporting into it and on it, I was pretty skeptical then in a newsroom where people would kind of roll their eyes at my skepticism. But I was 100% right.
Yeah.
Why is it that now the media, like I just listened to CBS at the top of the hour, made zero mention of it.
That's interesting.
Yeah.
Because, I mean, I've actually seen it on national news now. It's not very favorable to the right either, but at least it's getting mentioned. It's on Drudge Report now. That's a step.
Yeah. But, CBS mentioned it yesterday, and they said he was raising old, it was kind of like raising old grievances or something like that. And I'm like, no, this is Tulsi Gabbard unearthing these documents, which show a clear, if you want to use conspiracy as the word, but just a clear plan to undo what the American people voted for in 2016. I was a young kid, but I remember all the stuff with Watergate and thinking, man, this must be really awful. And as I've read more about it, as I've gotten older, I mean, obviously there were some pretty questionable things that took place, but is this not potentially at least on that same level?
Mm-hmm.
But why is there zero interest or very little interest in the national media to even kind of really dig into this?
Well, I mean, we could all assume it's a couple things, right? You know, national media obviously leans left. That's the issue. Even though it's gotten a little bit better, I guess, because they feel like they're going with the wave of the electoral map. But I think a lot of it, too, might be the timing. You know, Epstein, and they feel like this is a distraction to it, to take away from that narrative. And then Tulsi, too, who's been out of favor. It's from reports. We don't really know, right?
Right.
With the president saying that she's been off message. This is her way to get back in favor with him to try and change the media narrative right now. But yeah, I mean, it's a huge issue. Don't get me wrong.
Yeah.
But that's all the things at play at once.
And I think one other thing that might be being overlooked is that a lot, especially the big media, the national media, were kind of in on it.
Yeah, they were. You have these sources, and sources say, and sources this.
Yeah.
And I think we rely on that way too much. I know you have to use it sometimes, right?
Right.
But, you know, speaking of which, like the Wall Street Journal article about Pam Bondi told Trump that he's mentioned several times in the Epstein files.
Right.
We have that from sources and more sources.
Which isn't
and sources.
surprising. They knew each other and had a friend relationship.
Yeah. And it's like 3 or 4 paragraphs of like Trump mentioned in Epstein files and this and that, secret top information. And then you get to the bottom like, but a senior official said it wasn't necessarily anything bad.
Right, exactly. No, I heard. Yeah, exactly. It's like you have the salacious headline that draws them in.
And that, honestly, like, this is nothing new in the world of journalism. Like, this has always been political.
Yeah.
I hate to say it. You know, from the founding of America, it was all just political.
No doubt. But it's just, I don't know. It's frustrating to me because I feel like this should be one of the biggest stories in years, and it's just being poo-pooed.
But why? And like everyone's so mad about like the biased media, and I agree. Like, join me in. But it hasn't really hurt the guy. Like he just wins.
No.
Like, so why is everyone still ticked off about it? People don't like the legacy media that much anymore.
When I was at Marquette, I had a chance to go to a speech from Hunter S. Thompson, who was a very famous journalist, Rolling Stone magazine. If you ever saw the movie Where the Buffalo Roam with Bill Murray, portrays, like him in that movie. But he came up with his term. He called Ronald Reagan the Teflon president because no matter what was thrown at him, nothing stuck.
Yeah.
And Trump is kind of Teflon 2.0.
Well, they're like two different Teflons. You have like the nice, humble, respectable Reagan.
Yeah.
And then you have the brash New Yorker Trump. It's this different situation.
Oh,
but yeah. The only one that I've actually seen, like, and I don't even know if it's going to stick because we'll see what happens with it, is the Epstein thing. People are ticked off about it. And he's obviously mad about that, too. Whether he's implicated or not, it's bothering him.
Yeah, and I get it. But I also feel like if there were anything super bad about Trump in the Epstein files, with the Democrats having held all the power the last 4 years, wouldn't have that come out?
Well, maybe because they have some people too.
You might be right there.
It starts with a Clinton. So could be. I don't know.
Yeah, and I see that the Clintons are being subpoenaed along with some others.
Yep, Hillary and Bill
in connection with the Epstein stuff. So.
And then Ghislaine Maxwell as well.
Yeah, from prison. Yeah. Interesting time.
And they say that she's cutting a deal with the Trump administration. So there's so many reports out there.
All right, we need to take a break. We'll come back with your calls, 442-8255 on the BOM Bank Talk Line.
Talkback is sponsored by The Clinics with 27 providers and 3 locations. Someone can see you today. Stick around. More of Talkback is on the way.
This is a Bloomberg Money Minute. Alaska Air is getting a lift from its fares and revenue, which the company said improved in its recent bookings at both its namesake carrier and Hawaiian Airlines. Revenue and profit beat estimates in the latest quarter, and Alaska Air provided a new profit outlook for the year. But Southwest Airlines says it expects economic turmoil to erase as much as $1 billion of its annual pre-tax profit this year. That prompted the airline to reduce its outlook substantially for 2025. Price hikes helped Nestle in recent months, despite sluggish volumes, and the maker of Nespresso coffee and Nestle Crunch bars saw revenue grow by almost 3% in the year's first half. Tesla shares are moving lower in pre-market trading. Elon Musk warned of a hard year ahead for the company, adding to the automaker's woes after reporting one of its worst quarters in the last decade. Futures were mixed this morning after stocks hit new record highs yesterday. Investors are optimistic about the prospect for more international trade deals. Gina Cervetti, Bloomberg Radio.
If you'd like to take part in the show today, call the BOM Bank Talk line at 442-8255. That's 442-TALK. And remember, if you're looking to purchase or refinance your home, call Christina Bagwell at the BOM Bank Mortgage Department at 448-2430.
Now back to Talk Back, 970 AM, 104.9 FM, KSYO.
James Comey, Brennan, Clapper, those are nasty, mean people. Russia did try to meddle in our election. Other countries did too. But Comey, Clapper, Brennan started this rumor that President Trump actually colluded with Russia to meddle in the election. And they, of course, they had the media on their side, and they were spreading it. It was spreading like wildfire. And then all of a sudden, oopsie friggin' daisy, the Mueller report came out, which proved they were all lying. That part I am certain of. But the new developments, I just got to look at them. You know, the Justice Department will get to the bottom of it.
Well, it just seems.
But the cast of characters we're dealing with, Comey, Clapper, Brennan, as I think I was saying yesterday, I don't know if you heard me or not, but Jesus loves them, I'm sure, but everybody else thinks they're an idiot.
Yeah. I was waiting for the quip. It took longer than usual.
John Kennedy, Senator John Kennedy.
I haven't heard from him in a while, I feel like. I used to hear about him all the time.
Yeah, he's still out there.
Yeah, I'm sure.
And did you see the other report about, they were saying actually that Russia had information on Hillary's health that they were holding in case she won the election?
Really? Well, yeah, it's just all these, cloak and dagger political information. Like I was telling you during the break, all of this is somewhat important, right?
Mm-hmm.
But just fix the economy. Put some money back in our pockets. Fix the infrastructure. Make sure we don't get blown up by a foreign country. Like, make America just let's get it stabilized.
You almost said it. Make America great again.
Make America better and always better. We don't want to get worse. That's all I got to say. But everything's important. I get it.
All right. 442-8255, the BOM Bank Talk line. Let's go to the phones this morning. Good morning. You're on Talkback.
Good morning.
Hey.
How we doing over there?
Great, sir. How are you?
Oh, just listen to the same old news. Everybody's talking about the national news, but I just want to introduce myself. My name is Walter Beach. I'm with EMS Reform, and I'd like to talk about the Rapides EMS stuff up there. It's, they can create a legal monopoly, and then they want to negotiate with the monopoly. It just does not make sense, and we're about the EMT. We're not about companies, but just think about the EMT for once. Do they want to work for a monopoly? No. And this is going to come to, to fruition where, you're not going to have EMTs anymore. The state already did pass laws where we can hire certified ambulance drivers. These aren't even medically trained. They may have a CPR card. And also there's one that they want to do ambulance drivers. So if you're convicted of a crime, you pay your dues. That it's a bill that's out that will allow them to become a certified ambulance driver, which isn't even a thing, but it's to bring the people that serve a little bit closer to providing for the community. So these are some of the issues that are happening in the EMS realm, especially in Louisiana. The EMTs are about life. The companies, not so much. They provide the ambulance to go to you, but the EMTs will save your life. So, we're going to try to get the monopoly clause taken care of, because one question was the federal, state, and parish laws or ordinance. If you look on it with the CO2 stuff, why are the parishes having to follow the federal law? But then you could create a monopoly at the parish level, and the state's okay with it, but it's illegal at the federal level. So it's just some interesting stuff that's going on in Alexandria, and it's just not there. It's all over the place. These police juries want to ambulance service, but yet they want to create a monopoly out of it. Why do nursing homes need a monopoly? I can understand if it's for 911 purpose only, but this is a situation that's been going on for years and years and years, and we're in an EMT crisis, and this is not good for the EMT. The EMT does not get terminated because of bad skills all the time. Some of them do, but a majority of them get fired because of personal issues, or they turn the ambulance too hard, or just ridiculous stuff. So, my purpose is to focus on the EMTs, give them a say at the legislature, and help people make these decisions. So I just wanted to get that out there, and appreciate what you guys doing.
Well, thank you.
Following along and enjoying the show.
Yeah.
And right now I'm on a body carry spillway headed to work. I am an EMT, and apparently somebody can't drive straight. So.
Wow.
You ain't lying.
So what was the organization you said you're part of again?
EMS Reform.
Okay.
We started like in 2018 in Jefferson Parish, where they wanted us to pay for a permit to save lives. Yeah, occupational permit for EMTs.
Yeah.
So we definitely have a long way to go.
Yeah, I've seen you on Facebook. Hit me up. DM me. We'll figure something out.
I sure will. So
good to hear from you.
That's one of the big issues. And I've been wanting to call in. If we could focus on what's happening in the parishes instead of this national stuff, I think it'll really benefit the people, because the CO2 is really a big issue. I really feel like that's a misunderstanding, and their message at first was really poor. So unfortunately, I'm involved in that too.
Okay.
So we got a lot of stuff up there. You guys keep at it, and thank you for your time, and we'll definitely keep in touch.
All right. Thank you, sir.
Thank you. Appreciate it. Have a
you.
good one. All right. We need to take a break. We'll come back with more calls.
KSYL.
Hello, I'm Dr. Noah Miller. I'm the new guy at the clinics. I'm a family medicine physician from Vedrine, Louisiana, and I'm now accepting new patients. Call today for an appointment. The clinics offers a wide range of services, including primary care, family and chronic care, urgent and acute care, on-site lab and x-ray as well. Same-day appointments are available, and we accept most insurance and Medicare. Experience exceptional care at the clinics. 1587 North Bolton. Call 445-9823 or reach us online at theclinics.us. Looking forward to seeing you at the clinics.
Summertime in Cenla is here. Keep the fun sizzling while staying cool. Bounce into excitement at our indoor trampoline park and play centers. Cool off at local area arcades, or immerse yourself in creativity at downtown art and children's museums. Beat the heat and savor the flavors at our local restaurants. Your taste buds will thank you. Strike up some fun. Hit the lanes for some cool bowling adventure. Want more cool ideas? Visit explorealexandriapineville.com. 2 cities, 1 epic summer.
In Sinlaw, keeping your lawn looking great can be a real challenge. And that's why folks have been choosing our locally owned and operated company, Promo Fencing and Lawn Care. Promo can also be your local choice for fence installation and new landscape installs. They're real pros about it too, offering free estimates and financing for those bigger jobs, residential or commercial. Bring your vision to life with Promo Fencing and Lawn Care. Call 318-452-6265.
It's Talkback 970 AM, 104.9 FM, KSYO.
All right, we're back. Let's go back to the calls. Good morning. You're on Talkback.
Hey, thank you for taking my call. Al, I wanted to agree with you on the importance of this issue with Obama and the corruption that Tulsi Gabbard is exposing. And Stephen, I wanted to tell you that these are linked. I understand, you want, well, let's just get back to, making America great again. These two issues are tied together and it can't be extracted. Listen, this corruption went so deep. And what they were doing were trying to harness power instead of paying attention to the economic issues that they should have been paying attention to. And we got to remember this exposes the corruption of the FISA court system. These judges were giving the Obama administration just rubber stamp. They weren't questioning anything. And, when you see these documents and how many people, they had the Secretary of Education making FISA requests so they wouldn't cluster them all around the intelligence people. They had every cabinet official that could making FISA requests. And these judges were just saying, yes, 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 yes. And we can't forget what they did to Matt Flynn. They sent agents to give him money, pretend that they were doing Michael Flynn, sorry. Yeah, Matt Flynn's a quarterback. They sent them to Turkey. They met him in Istanbul in airport, and they gave him $10,000 because if somebody comes into the country with $10,000, they can be arrested. And then they met him when he got here. Now, he had the foresight to not bring it with him. He went to a bank in Turkey and deposited that money because he knew how the game was played. And yet when the agents arrested him, he didn't have the money on him. So they called Upline, which had to be into the Obama administration, and they said, well, just take him anyway. So they arrested him anyways. And they grilled him until they threatened his son. And when they threatened his son, he said, all right, I'll do whatever you say I need to do. And he ended up going to prison for this. This is corruption at the highest levels. And if we don't see it as important because we don't understand our civics. We didn't have a good schooling when we were going through our educational system. And if we did, man, we would be up in arms about this and demanding that these people, and we have to, because those in office with the power have got to fear the people. Wasn't it Jefferson that says when the people fear the government, you have tyranny. When the government fears the people, you have liberty. That's not just a trite, quick saying. That is truth. And this exposes something that will take down our republic if we don't deal with these people. I know Obama's untouchable. He's above the law. I hope they make him sweat a little bit, but I hope they get Clapper and Comey and Brennan and as many of the underlings as they can and put them in prison so that the next time a person that is untouchable tries to get something like this done, they can't do it by themselves. They have to have these underlings to do the work for them. So anyways, I was you, Al. I think we need to push this to the nth degree. Thanks for letting me speak my piece. Y'all have a great day.
Yeah, appreciate that. So just for people that aren't up to speed on this, what are they talking about? What's Tulsi Gabbard talking about? She is saying that before Obama left office, he and his senior officials, allegedly, suppressed intelligence that showed there was no Russian interference in the 2016 U.S. election. They promoted a false narrative of Russian collusion in order to undermine Trump's victory, and leaked and amplified the Steele dossier, which was funded by the Clintons to build the narrative. The point that he makes, I think, is important there, that we cannot have a country that operates like this, where you're seeing people targeted based on what party they're in. And Trump, if you remember the famous 60 Minutes interview with Leslie Stahl was saying they spied on his campaign. And That's not true, Mr. President. No, it was true. I don't know. I feel like, yes, I agree with your point that most Americans just want to know that we're safe and that our economy is strong. But I think that, for me anyway, this does speak to a deeper issue, which is about integrity and honesty and ethical dealing, which, okay, we're talking about the realm of politics now. And obviously, there's a lot that's wrong with that, just making that statement right there. But I feel like this mess has to be exposed like a cancer. It has to be exposed, rooted out, gutted, and whatever pain that brings will be the better for it.
I think I'm getting misrepresented here. I didn't say I didn't care. I think we do care, and we should all care. I'm just saying that most of Americans just want those things.
No,
and
I
they're
agree
probably
with you.
not paying attention like
I agree.
you are or I am. I'm just
Right.
saying. I mean, I agree.
But
It's very
I think that's
important.
why it's gotten the way that it is because people don't pay attention. Now, you see in Louisiana, for example, because it's closer to home, a lot more people have been paying attention to what's happening in our state politically, and they're not happy.
Honestly, like when it comes to state politics too, because I used to cover it
Yeah.
as my beat,
Yeah.
and people don't really know or care. Like, I'm not saying that's a good thing. It just doesn't get the same attention.
No, but I think it has more in the last year.
Maybe.
I really do. And I think that the vote in March showed that when people overwhelmingly shot down those constitutional amendments because they said, we don't trust you. You've packed way too much into this, and we don't trust you.
What was the voter turnout for that election? I got to look. Probably wasn't good.
It wasn't great.
Yeah.
No.
And like our viewers and our callers, they're very informed.
Yeah.
They're very smart. But we are the very few, especially in state politics. I'm just saying. That's just my opinion from what I've experienced.
Yeah.
But it's important. It's very, very important,
Right.
especially in a state like Louisiana with its history.
Yeah. Yep. And like I said, if you listen to Moon the other day when he had Bernie Pincenat on talking about just what the polls are showing right now as he talks to people, and people are really upset, especially about what happened with auto insurance this session. And, and we just got our property insurance bill for the next year, and it's gone up.
Yeah. I don't want to like tick people off, but I feel like you couldn't get 50% of people in Rapides Parish to tell you who their state representative is or their state senator.
You're making a great point.
Yeah.
You're 100% right.
And I don't think it's good.
Yeah.
We're on the same page there. It's awful.
The reason our country is in the state it's in, the reason our state is in the state that it's in, is because people have been apathetic and they've let it happen. And you can say in one sense we deserve better, but on the other sense we're getting exactly what we deserve.
Yeah.
Because we're not. This country was set up to be governed by the people, for the people. But if the people don't care, they're more worried about who's winning American Idol or, what the Saints are doing Sunday. And look, those things are fine in their place. But in general, there's so much just apathy and I don't care and it's too overwhelming. I don't want to think about it. There's nothing I can do about it.
Yeah. It's too confusing.
Yeah.
Like if you read the Russia thing, I'm just confused now. They'll figure it out. I agree with Dave. I agree with you. It's very, very important. It's just I don't think people care. That's what I'm trying to say.
Yeah.
And that's not good. I wouldn't be surprised if 50% of people couldn't name the governor. Like, I'm being dead serious.
Yeah, and I would probably agree with you there.
Yeah. I'll stop with that, my little fake statistics. What is it, 90% of the time, if you tell someone a statistic, they'll believe it?
Yeah. Exactly. All right, let's go back to the phones. Good morning, you're on Talkback.
Yeah, my wife is probably the average voter here that y'all are talking about.
You're calling your wife average?
Yeah. She's at least average, and I'm at least above average on something with her.
Move on.
She's above average. So no voting. So it's she doesn't the voting wise, like voting like interest and all that.
She doesn't really care.
Well,
she asked me about it.
Does she know that for a
"Have you
lot of
heard
years?
about this?"
Does she know for a lot of years women weren't allowed to vote?
I don't know. She's so busy with other stuff. She's so busy with other stuff and all, and she just doesn't. She cares, but it's like she has so many other things going on. Because I know people right now, they're just trying to pay bills, figure out how to I mean, it's like, and if you got families, I mean, it's, and going to meetings, it's like, somebody asked me, why don't you go to like the carbon capture meeting? They're like all into it. They're like, why didn't you go to it? I'm like, well, I got a family and all this kind of stuff. And,
James Carville said it's the economy.
You don't care about your water in the future?
Well, it's like nothing. It's like their meetings right now. It's like people are just like yelling. That's all I saw on the news was like people getting up there and yelling and all that. And I don't really, I just wanted I don't know if y'all will do it. I want like a neutral thing, like people get up there, say, these are the reasons I'm for this. These are the reasons why. Then you get somebody up there and say, these are the reasons you're against it. That's kind of stuff, but that's not what I'm calling about. But,
or you can just listen to KSYL. We got tons of both sides of the issue.
So yeah, but y'all's show is good for that. But yeah, it's like, and I know she did care like a lot of other teachers during that March election. Like the whole thing with the amendments about the raises. Right. I know a lot of teachers cared about that. I don't know if they didn't think teachers would show up. I don't know if that's why. I don't know why they had it.
But my understanding was, didn't a lot of teachers vote against it, right?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, a lot of teachers are upset about it because they feel like they're getting used as political game for teacher raises.
No, that never happens.
So I know it was promised like $2,000 raises wouldn't happen and all that. Hey, what did happen with that, with the $2,000 raises? If we were told it wasn't going to happen?
They did put it in this. It was in.
It got put in there.
Yeah.
So that's why a lot of teachers are upset. They're like, see what happened? We voted down, and it still got in there. So I mean, that's why that's just coming from teacher friends that my wife and the rest of them. I think if you make the teachers mad, I think that's a way to not get lessen your chances of getting some time.
Aren't some teachers just perpetually mad though?
Yeah, I think that too. Yeah. They're considering what they have to deal with in the classroom. I would never last. I give it to teachers there. I would not last even an hour in there.
So that March election, where they voted on those amendments, 21% of voters turned out. Yeah. And that was actually a good number.
Yeah.
That's what I'm trying to say.
Sad.
You're right.
Yeah, that's still very sad. I don't know why people don't show up and vote.
Sorry, I don't mean to cut you off, but I got to take this commercial.
Talkback is sponsored by The Clinics with 27 providers and 3 locations. Someone can see you today. Stick around. More of Talkback is on the way.
All of us have that one friend who can just light up the room with a smile. And sadly, how many of us are just a little bit envious of that friend? Well, here's the good news. The folks over at Today's Dental in Pineville can deliver that beautiful beaming smile. Over the years, hundreds of hopeful patients have visited and been completely satisfied. They've made getting dental implants an amazingly simple, low-anxiety procedure, one that's affordable for anyone's budget. The staff at Today's Dental go out of their way to make you feel comfortable with calming in-office IV sedation that's administered by a highly skilled, certified nurse anesthetist. And their multiple finance options make the entire procedure truly affordable. Isn't it your turn to light up that room? Give Today's Dental a call at 448-4540. It's a general dental facility on Highway 28 East in Pineville, owned by Dr. Jonas Gauthier. That's 448-4540. Coverage varies by plan. View contracts and exclusions at endurancewarranty.com.
In sports, it's the dream team. And if your car is out of warranty, there's a team for that as well. You, the driver, your mechanic, and Endurance to pay for the repair bills. I'm Danica Patrick. In the past 5 years, auto repair costs have gone up over 36%. And if your manufacturer's warranty is expired, you'll have to cover it all. With an Endurance auto protection plan, no matter what the mileage, if your car is under 20 years old, Endurance can get you covered on the engine, electrical system, transmission, AC, and more. Endurance has plans for any budget. Repairs can be done by the certified mechanic of your choice. Plans cover 24/7 towing, battery jumps, fuel deliveries, tire changes, and lockout services. Act now and get the benefits of our Elite plan, a $2,000 value at no extra cost. With Endurance, you could never pay for covered auto repairs again. So call now for your free quote.
Call 800-291-0342. 800-291-0342. 800-291-0342.
970 AM, 104.9 FM, KSYO. To take part in the show, call 442-8255. That's 442-TALK.
Hey, let's just follow up quickly. So to clarify, in this legislative session, the legislature approved $2,000 stipends for teachers, $1,000 for support staff in K through 12. They did that by delaying government purchases and even putting in some Medicaid cuts. Now, that was in lieu of the constitutional amendment that was voted down that would have made those stipends permanent. They're saying that they may try to put that as a future constitutional amendment for the states in 2026.
And I get it. They're not making enough, especially for the important work they do.
Who makes enough in almost anything?
I was just about to say that, like, none of us are making enough.
I mean, you know, police officers.
Police officers really aren't making enough.
All I know is
I
don't get a $10,000 bonus at the end of the school year.
Go talk to the new president.
No, I'm not complaining about my situation. I enjoy working there. I appreciate it, but it's just interesting how people complain.
Yeah.
Like, they really have some good stuff. So.
I'm just so upset with my 7-figure income.
Yeah.
If I could just have 3 yachts instead of 2.
Yeah. All right, Robert Rigdon, CEO of SunGas, will be with us when we come back at 8:05, so stay with us.
You've been listening to Talkback. The opinions expressed were those of the hosts and callers, and not necessarily those of Cenlaw Broadcasting. FM 104.9, AM 970, KSYL, and KRRV 100.3 HD3, Alexandria. It's 8 o'clock.
This is CBS News on the Hour, sponsored by Progressive Insurance.
I'm Deborah Rodriguez. A new report says Ghislaine Maxwell is putting together new evidence to present to Justice Department officials when she meets with them at her jail in Tallahassee this week. Her brother Ian tells the New York Post it could have a significant impact on her bid to overturn the guilty verdict that sent her away for 20 years. Meantime, House Speaker Mike Johnson tells CBS's Major Garrett he's still in favor of releasing the Epstein files.
We want full transparency. We want everybody who was involved in any way with the Epstein evils, let's call it what it was, to be brought to justice as quickly as possible. We want the full weight of the law on their head.
According to a Wall Street Journal report, the Attorney General told President Trump in May that his name appears multiple times in the Epstein documents. Correspondent Ed O'Keefe.
The White House tried again to redirect focus onto a different subject, in this case, how the Obama administration investigated potential Russian interference in the 2016 elections. National Intelligence Director Tulsi Gabbard walked reporters through her review of the matter and accused the former president of leading a coup against Trump. President Obama's office calls the accusations ridiculous and a weak attempt at distraction.
Immigration officials are shackling more immigrants.
In a recent memo obtained by the Washington Post, ICE ordered staff to place ankle monitors on all 183,000 people enrolled in the agency's Alternatives to Detention program. All those people had agreed to some form of tracking or mandatory check-ins, but only 24,000 of them are currently wearing ankle monitors. Many of them have no criminal record and have not missed any court appointments. Immigration advocates say while the monitors are more humane than detention, they impose a social stigma and invade immigrants' privacy. Michael Wallace, CBS News.
The president checks out the Fed in person today.
President Trump will join a group from his administration for what was a previously scheduled tour of the $2.5 billion renovation of the Fed's D.C. headquarters. White House officials have criticized the project for going well over budget and say it may have violated planning requirements. The trip comes as Fed Chairman Jerome Powell is under increased scrutiny by the president for refusing to cut interest rates.
CBS's Stacey Lynn. 4 leading news organizations claim their reporters in Gaza are facing the threat of starvation. Reporter Linda Gradstein from Jerusalem.
The Associated Press, AFP, BBC News, and Reuters said their journalists in Gaza are increasingly unable to feed themselves and their families. They urged Israel to allow journalists in and out of Gaza. Israel did not respond directly to the statement, but in the past has accused some journalists in Gaza of having ties to Hamas.
Dow futures are down 323. NAS futures up 28. This is CBS News.
Progressive Insurance, with insurance for cars, home, boat, motorcycles, RVs, and commercial vehicles at 1-800-PROGRESSIVE and Progressive.com.
A couple years ago, I was in the bathroom at the airport when I dropped my smartphone in the toilet. Not smart. I was multitasking when I should have been focused on the job at hand. Embarrassing, but I'm not alone. According to Google, 7 million other multitaskers accidentally dropped their phones into the bowl last year. A gentle reminder that right now you can get yourself a brand new Samsung Galaxy A36 absolutely free with a $35 plan from Pure Talk. The A36 comes with scratch-resistant Gorilla Glass and a battery that'll last all day, along with unlimited talk, text, and data on America's most dependable 5G network. In other words, it's tough and smart. Something to think about next time you're multitasking in the necessary. Just dial pound 250, say keyword Mike Rowe to get your free phone today. You can make the switch in just 10 minutes. That's pound 250. Say Mike Rowe to switch to a no-nonsense smartphone and a company that actually stands for something. Pure Talk.
Louisiana Radio Network, I'm Sean Burns. The state capitol is undergoing a thorough exterior cleaning. Here's Andrew Greenstein.
The cleaning is actually part of the third phase in a massive 4-phase project to rehabilitate the 93-year-old state capitol. Architect Matt Baker, the assistant director of facility planning and control, says not only will the building be cleaned, but it will also be waterproofed.
The water was getting into the building, starting to negatively affect some steel elements of the building.
This phase will be completed by early summer of 2030 at a cost of $100 million. This year, the legislature allocated almost $32 million, so it will need to come up with more money to see the project through to completion. I'm Andrew Greenstein.
Public schools can get updated computers thanks to a buyback program created in the most recent legislative session. Franklin Representative Vinnie St. Blanc says during the COVID pandemic, schools used federal dollars to buy computers that are now obsolete.
When you've got an opportunity to be able to get a buyback program and get you some that are up to date, really a good deal.
LRN.
The clinics welcome Dr. Noah Miller, family medicine physician, to our team. Dr. Miller from Vidrine, Louisiana, is now accepting new patients. Call today to schedule your appointment. The clinics offers a wide range of services, including primary care, family and chronic care, urgent and acute care with on-site lab and x-ray. Same-day appointments are available, and we accept most insurance and Medicare. Experience exceptional care at the clinics, 1587 North Bolton. Call 445-9823 or look us up online at theclinics.us.
Well, good morning. Get ready for another sunny and hot day with temperatures again climbing up to the upper 90s. That heat index probably close to 110 this afternoon. Then we'll put about a 20% chance of an afternoon shower or thunderstorm for the forecast today. And a bad breeze either out of the north at about 5 to 10. Tonight down to 75 and our Friday highs near 90 with a 50% chance of rain. From the Sedlaw Broadcasting Weather Center, I'm Dave Gratian. Currently 77 degrees in Sedlaw.
Talkback is sponsored by The Clinics. With 27 providers and 3 locations, someone can see you today.
It's Talkback, Central Louisiana's longest-running talk show. Whether it's the guests or the callers, Talkback is where Central Louisiana begins its conversation.
All right, everyone. Welcome back for hour number 2 of Talkback here on KSYL. I'm Al Quartermont along with Stephen Maxwell. Glad you could be with us today, and we have a very important interview on tap for you right now. We have heard, certainly in recent weeks, a lot of discussion about things like carbon capture and sequestration, and a lot of that has been spurred by the plan and the development of the SunGas Renewables facility and the former IP plant in Pineville, what's known as the Beaver Lake Project. And Stephen, as always, sometimes information can get confusing or people can hear things. And what we try to do on this show is give people as much information so that they can make sound decisions about whatever it is, including this particular topic.
Yeah, joining us on the phone is the CEO of SunGas Renewables, Robert Rigdon. Thanks for coming on.
Hi, good morning, gentlemen. Pleasure to be here this morning.
Yeah, thank you for being with us.
Calling in from Houston, I'm assuming it's hotter there than here, huh?
Probably. It's always hot here this time of year.
Well, for sure.
And muggy.
No, absolutely. Kind of elephant in the room. You know, there's been a ton of meetings across Central and Southwest Louisiana about carbon capture concerns. Sometimes they tend to get a bit heated or lively discussions. We get a ton of calls on that as well. Have you been surprised by some of the blowback on that issue?
Frankly, yes. I can say that as we moved into the development of the project, this is one topic we did not honestly anticipate this type of kind of reaction. And well, you know, I think it shows that we really need to do a really good job of getting a lot of the facts out around CCS and CO2. There's, in my opinion, a lot of misinformation that's out in the public domain now, and in hindsight, probably we should have maybe anticipated this, but we're hearing the messages loud and clear right now, and we're working real hard to get facts out to people.
So in hearing that, what are you doing differently, and what are you trying to tell people?
Well, first off, as we've been developing our project, you know, projects the scale of something like the Beaver Lake undertaking, which is about a $2.5 billion build out of a project, are developed in phases. And there's generally about 3 major phases before you get into the actual construction of the project. And in the first 2 phases of the project, you know, we laid out plans that we would begin to reach out into the community in this 3rd phase, which we're in right now. And so that actually has always been part of the plan. What ended up becoming a bit of a surprise is that, this topic of CCS came up in the way that it did. Mm-hmm. And then secondly, it came up just a little bit ahead of our plan to go ahead and get into a really meaningful community outreach around our project, which we're starting to do that now. So what that means is we've already begun meeting with, we're doing a number of things, frankly, but one of the things that we've been doing in the last several weeks that has been part of the plan is to meet with groups around the community. And these are, like groups of just citizens that are interested in what we're doing to come together so that they can ask us questions. And these might be groups of 15 or 20 or 25 people that we sit down with and we answer their questions, and we do another group and another group. And we are able to get this sort of feedback coming in so that we can help understand how the community is seeing and viewing our project. And then it gives us an opportunity to also talk about what we're doing with the project and get a lot of the facts out there. Also, other things that we're going to be doing is other community outreaches in terms of making sure that we can get more public sessions available, more things like what I'm doing this morning, and getting on the radio and maybe other sources of media to reach out into the community. This type of work on our part was actually always part of our plan, but we are accelerating that now that we're in the final stage of development.
So there's a number of big concerns that we hear in meetings, and I figure we could just break those down and get your reaction to those. One of the biggest ones, and they said it's going to be the biggest issue possibly in the state legislative sessions coming up, is eminent domain. I know you guys you say you're not in the business of carbon capture and sequestration, but it's something you guys will utilize. Do you want to see eminent domain done, or do you anticipate that to fulfill this project?
You know, as we look at developing the project, we have not been anticipating eminent domain being required. And eminent domain is not something that we really look at as project as we develop and build projects. This is a legal construct that's been available to states for decades, and it allows states to get involved whenever there are, I guess, interest in the interest of the states and the local community to use things like eminent domain. We don't plan projects around this. We don't go into a project thinking this is what we're going to do or going to have to do. So no, and I'm hopeful that we won't have to be involved with that at all. And projects, our project itself, we have a site. There's nothing about our site that requires us to use eminent domain. pipelines and connectivities to our projects, whether they're roads and rail and things like that. Most of that is set. I know pipelines sometimes have to get into eminent domain questions, but hopefully with our project that won't happen and won't be necessary.
Do you think people are conflating SunGas with the, quote, Cenla Hub? That's the project which will bring sequestration, or is trying to bring sequestration into both Rapides and Vernon parishes, and possibly even Allen Parish. Are people conflating the two, or do they just kind of lump you all together?
I think this is an interesting question there. I do think there's confusion about what we are and what these carbon capture hubs, such as the Cenla Hub. By the way, the Cenla Hub is not the only hub in Louisiana. There's a number of hubs that you just mentioned, a couple that are under development and advanced development as well, spread around the state. And then there are hubs in other states too, as well. So this is not unique to what's going on at the Cenla Hub. The conflation, I think, comes in is that projects like ours, and not only projects like ours, but even projects that are on the Gulf Coast that are, oil and gas projects are making refined products, fuels and other refined products that we use, are looking to capture CO2. And these hubs that are being developed around the state are the safe way for the industries that operate in Louisiana today to be able to have the pathway to capture CO2 permanently in geological sequestration. So the hubs are there as a service to multiple industries around Louisiana. Our project's just one probably fairly modest size in the bigger picture of what's happening in terms of capturing CO2 in the state.
I know Mr. Lefevre has answered this question somewhat, but I want to get your answer on it too, just because we keep getting the same question over and over. If there is no carbon capture and sequestration available, does SunGas exist in Pineville?
The project, without carbon capture sequestration solution, this project won't go forward. And the reason is it has to do with the quality of the fuel that we make. Mm-hmm. And the fuel would not be, the biofuels that we make, in this case, methanol, would not be marketable if we were not able to access carbon capture sequestration.
By marketable, you're meaning to the European market, correct?
To any markets. Europe is a market. Asian markets are there. There are companies in the United States that are interested in lowering carbon intensity and may ultimately buy some of our products or some of the products related to carbon capture sequestration. So mostly the biofuels, though, is transported out to European markets today. I believe there will be some going into Asian markets as well, though, before this is all over.
So for people to understand, the reason why the carbon capture is necessary is your fuel that you produce, your biofuel that you produce, is kind of scored, I don't know if that's the right term, based on how carbon friendly it is. And if it's not carbon friendly in terms of the carbon that you produce is released into the air instead of put into the ground, then the value of it gets too expensive, or just there's no value for the European or other international markets. Am I saying it the right way?
Yeah, you said it really well, actually. It is scored. It is scored like that. It's actually what it's called. It's scoring the product in terms of carbon intensity, and yes, then it has to do with if you're making this fuel, and this fuel is a fuel that is well, it's more expensive fuel than making it from traditional fossil sources alone. And so it's got to carry additional value with it in terms of lowering the carbon intensity. So yes, you have that right. Now, I would add, though, is that while we can't build our project without access to carbon capture sequestration, and then that would be a real shame, because the project, and we can talk about this in a moment, but the project offers so many benefits to the community. It's a really fine project. It's a very safe industrial project that creates a lot of jobs. But that's not going to have, the carbon capture sequestration, it's going on anyway. If we don't build the project, these hubs are coming in because there's so many other industries, including existing industries, that are that need to sequester CO2. It's not only us. It's by far not only us.
Right. And I want to get into the economic development stuff, very, very soon. Just want to get this, discussed first. We've been seeing some state lawmakers here call for special sessions on the issue. We've heard the state treasurer say that if communities don't want CCS, they shouldn't have it. Bill Cassidy said the same thing. What are you telling lawmakers and elected officials? What are you hearing from the governor? And have you even heard from the Trump administration on this issue?
Well, no, we're not. First, we're not talking about the issue directly with the administration. I assume they have some awareness because of their representatives and senators, from Louisiana that are plugged into this. So, but at the local level, we're supporting the CCS. Obviously, I think the state there is a lot of misinformation. This is in my opinion, obviously, that when you say, Senator Cassidy says, look, local communities, if they don't want it, they shouldn't be forced to have it. I can understand that. I don't think that anybody that wants to build a project wants to go in and enforce something into a community. That's a bad idea. That's just not a good idea. And nor do we want to do that. That said, though, I truly believe in my heart here that we haven't been able to do a great job of getting the information out that I believe the community will support the project and will support CCS when they understand it better. There is some dramatically poor information out in the public domain now that's energized that, in my opinion, has people afraid and on things that just are not factually based. And it's up to us and others in the energy industry to make sure that we get the right messages out, and to do that in a way where we're using more independent voices, so that there's got to be a level of trust that's got to come into this, so that people can understand where the facts are around CCS.
All right, we're talking with Robert Rigdon, is the CEO of SunGas Renewables here on Talkback. We do need to take a break. 442-8255 is our phone number on the BOM Bank Talk line if you have a question. And Robert has said he's agreeable to take calls. So we'll take this break and come back with more with him as we continue on a Thursday Talkback.
Talkback is sponsored by The Clinics, with 27 providers and 3 locations. Someone can see you today. Stick around. More of Talkback is on the way.
Put some fun in your future with Pleasure Pools. Right now, get a 16 by 32 in-ground pool for just $39,995. Financing available. Pleasure Pools has been building top-quality fiberglass, gunite, and vinyl pools across Louisiana and East Texas for over 30 years. Want more? Add a spa, waterfall, or custom feature, and we've got you covered for maintenance and remodeling too. Call 318-357-9000 or visit pleasurepoolsinc.com.
Hey everyone, Dean here from Say's Office Supply. Wanted to invite everyone to our annual youth fishing tournament from 6 daylight to 10:30 at Coachella Lake. Entry fee is only $10. The first 400 participants get a free Zipco rod and reel, a t-shirt, and even a honey bun. And everyone will have lunch provided by Burger King. And this year, guys, Red River Bank's even coming with ice cream. Participants ages 3 to 14 can fish for bass, brim, white perch, and even the largest trash fish. There's going to be more awesome giveaways, including 4 bicycles and a lifetime hunting and fishing license. Make sure to pick up your entry forms at Say's Office Supply or any participating Burger King. Before we leave, we'd like to thank our sponsors, Max Fresh Market, UTLX, SunLaw Broadcasting, Texas Roadhouse, Gilchrist Construction, Bulletproof Outfitters, ALBC, Parish Press, and Derek Delaney Farm Bureau. Hope to see you there Saturday, August the 2nd.
A message from Israel Air Conditioning and Heating.
Yeah, my mama, she told me to pick up and call Israel Air.
She told me Israel Air. She told me.
She said they'll come running with comfort beyond compare.
At a very fair price.
Because you know we're all about your comfort, no troubles. Call 442-6657. That's 442-6657. We're all about your comfort,
If you'd like to take part in the show today, call the BON Bank Talk line at 442-8255. That's 442-TALK. And remember, if you're looking to purchase or refinance your home, call Christina Bagwell at the BON Bank Mortgage Department at 448-2430.
Now back to Talk Back, 970 AM, 104.9 FM, KSYO.
All right, we're back. Alan Stephen with you. Robert Rigdon, the CEO of SunGas Renewables, is our guest. Robert, kind of going into the break, you were talking about just some of the information that's out there and some things that are just kind of wildly not true. Can you more specify what are some of the main things you're hearing that people maybe are not getting right or not hearing the right way?
I think the main things that concern me about some of the comments I've heard come back are related to the perception that the pipelining of CO2 is unsafe. And that's just so factually incorrect. And it's mostly centered around the safety aspects of that and the safety aspects of sequestration, which is well documented and well proven. And then pipelining CO2 has been done for decades all over our country so safely. It's one of the safest things that we can do. And that is the area that I would say is got the biggest concern to me, that because it scares people, and we need to help get the facts out there.
Yeah, I know. People are concerned that there'll be plumes under lakes and drinking water, aquifers, and things like that. And they talk about what happened in Mississippi and Decatur, Illinois, that there have been leaks. So how do you counter some of those things? Is the technology just getting better? How does the science predict what might happen with that 100, 200, 300 years from now?
Right. Well, there's two things there. One is the pipelining and one is the sequestration. And on the pipelining side, we've got historical records of just an impeccably safe pipelining system of CO2 and we'll bring that out. In terms of sequestration, it's not as common, although CO2 has been put underground and stored safely in conjunction with enhanced oil recovery for decades. Right. In the case of sequestration, it just goes down a lot deeper and goes into rock pores. And so I think the education that needs to happen there is to understand that there are not voids in the earth underneath that are sort of just being filled up with CO2 that can leak out. This is CO2 that migrates into rock pores. If there were some very unlikely event where you drilled a hole into the rock pore, it can't leak out very fast. It would be very slow. There are monitoring devices all around this. This is heavily reviewed and permitted this way to make sure that those monitoring devices would pick up anything. And so when you layer all that in there, what you can see is that the concern for this large plume of CO2 is just an unfounded concern. Now, look, I'm not the CO2 sequestration engineer and expert, and there's many people that have been in the community now, and that's starting to really, I think, ramp up. that can come in and talk about this a lot better than I can. But that's the gist of it right there on the sequestration and on the pipeline safety as well.
I want to talk about the, do you need something?
I was just going to mention that tomorrow on the show, we'll have Greg Upton, who is an expert in that.
Yeah, he'll be on the show to talk about it.
And that's the one from LSU, Greg Upton.
Tell us about the economic impact, of course. Local tax revenues that you guys expect, jobs. Kind of give us a rundown.
Yeah, okay. We talk a lot about jobs, and I think sometimes when you talk about jobs, and we've worked with Louisiana Economic Development Group, LED, and we've got jobs, estimated total jobs, direct and indirect, at around 550 jobs. And then you say to yourself, well, what does that really mean? Well, that's a lot of jobs, but maybe that's not a lot of jobs. Well, what it means in terms of economic impact, a couple things. First off, according to the data I have here from LED, the average wage in the area is somewhere between $45,000 and $50,000 a year. The average wage on these jobs is $80,000 a year. And so that's one. Number two, then you go into you mentioned it. You said, well, what about tax revenues and things like that? And that may sound, interesting, because I have the number here. It's $280 million over 20 years. That's a big number. It's more than just tax revenue. It is, when you think about, well, what really happens when we're running this project? Well, as some of you will recall when you were running the paper mill, we're going to be taking in 2 million tons a year of wood fiber. And that's not happening now. And so the logging industry fires back into action. The supporting that, the trucks fire back into action. The drivers, the cutters, they go back into action. We're paying tens of millions of dollars a year for that wood fiber. That goes into the industries. That's all local spend. That's above tax revenue. And so that goes into the community as well. And you think about things like this, and then you go, well, there's tires for the trucks, and there's restaurants to feed the loggers. And I'm just talking about one aspect of the project. This is a very big project, and it has to be maintained. There's going to be maintenance organizations that we're going to want to hire locally that'll handle the contracts with us, that will work hand in hand with us as we go forward and keep this plant maintained and keep it operating well. So, and these are contract jobs, long-term jobs that are not just part of the direct hire. So when you think about the whole overall economic side of the equation, it's really compelling, and it will be noticeable in the community to bring in a project of this scale.
I have one more quick question before we take calls, because we did promise calls. How is the rest of the country and different industries watching this one? Because I know it's become kind of a political hot button issue. And two, what other industries could possibly benefit from this project that you guys are estimating?
Okay. Well, others, you're talking about, let me make sure to qualify the question. If you're talking about the build out of biofuels projects around the country, is that what you're
like maybe like
here?
The timber industry across Louisiana, how could that be impacted with projects like this? Yeah.
Yeah. So look, there are across our country, particularly in the southern wood basket from East Texas all the way over, the timber industry has been hit pretty hard with the closing of paper mills primarily. And there's been nothing to really bring those jobs back. The current administration in Washington is really encouraging industry to build out biofuels and to strengthen the forestry industry. So across the whole southern part of the U.S. particularly, we have this really great opportunity to do that, to bring rural jobs and to be able to build projects like this. These are projects, in my mind, sort of simplistically, they counteract the closing of these paper mills. And there are just so many projects that we would put down over the years, or that industry would put down over the years in the forest areas, just like we had paper mills, that will work in sort of synchronized with normal forestry activities that keep the forest healthy, keep the jobs there. So that is sort of the across the board. Now, in terms of investment level, you can easily see 30 or 40 projects of this scale going across the southern part of the United States, working in harmony with and these projects, if you're talking $2 to $3 billion each, you begin to get a scale of the level of investment that comes in. And then if you go across, and then typically, maybe not in all cases, but typically, because of the nature of what we're doing here, the projects will typically be close to more rural communities instead of large cities. And this is really great because if you go around, travel off the interstates and get on the state highways and go through all those small towns, and I have done that a lot, you'll see rural America has really been hit hard. And this is just another great way to bring, some economic development to areas that desperately need it.
All right, Robert Rigdon is our guest, CEO of SunGas Renewables. We're going to take a quick break, and then we'll come back with some of your calls here on Talkback.
Talkback is sponsored by The Clinics with 27 providers and 3 locations. Someone can see you today. Stick around. More of Talkback is on the way.
This is a Bloomberg Money Minute. Shares of Tesla are moving lower in pre-market trading. CEO Elon Musk warned of a hard year ahead for the company, adding to the automaker's troubles after reporting one of its worst quarters of the last decade. Musk pointed to the pending loss of EV incentives in the U.S. and the lengthy process of rolling out driverless vehicles. Tesla's earnings missed Wall Street's already lowered estimates. Revenue fell 12%, marking the sharpest decline in at least a decade, and vehicle deliveries slid. The average selling price for Tesla cars fell. Futures have been mixed this morning after the S&P 500 and the NASDAQ touched more new record highs yesterday. Investors are optimistic about the prospects for more trade deals. President Donald Trump suggested he would not go below 15% as he sets so-called reciprocal tariff rates ahead of an August 1st deadline. Gina Cervetti, Bloomberg Radio.
Storms, tornadoes, power outages. It's the season, so get prepared. Get storm ready with Southern Air. Get a free estimate on a generator, the right generator for your home and family, plus 0% financing for 60 months with approved credit. Let Southern Air help you take the worry out of hurricane season. Take action now. Visit southernairnow.com and let us bear it. Or give us a call at 318-777-5555. Keep the lights on with Southern Air.
Well, good morning. Get ready for another sunny and hot day with temperatures again climbing up to the upper 90s. That heat index probably close to 110 this afternoon. Yeah, we'll put about a 20% chance of an afternoon shower or thunderstorm for the forecast today. Not a bad breeze either out of the north at about 5 to 10. Tonight down to 75 and our Friday highs near 90 with a 50% chance of rain. From the Cenla Broadcasting Weather Center, I'm Dave Gratian. Currently 80 degrees in Cenla.
Talkback. To take part in the show, call 442-8255. That's 442-TALK.
As we like to say, miss a minute, miss a lot here on Talkback. Robert Rigdon, the CEO of SunGas Renewables, is our guest. Been a great conversation so far. We want to give you a chance to ask some questions, so let's do that right now. Good morning, you're on Talkback. Yep, hang on one second. There. Oh, shoot. I think I just cut off Robert.
Did you? Are you there, Mr. Rigdon?
Hang on. Let me put this caller back on hold. Let's see if this is him. Hey, Robert, is this you?
Yeah.
Okay. Sorry about that. Let me see. I think I hit the wrong button. All right. Let's see if this works. Okay. Good morning. You're on Talkback with Robert Rigdon.
That me?
Yes, sir. It is you. Yep.
Okay, Mr. Rigdon, I'm going to tell you something. I very much would like to see the SunGas methanol plant going. I have 100 acres of pine trees. I planted them years ago, hoping, for some retirement income. Here I am, 74. I can't even give my trees away. But I am absolutely against pumping CO2 into the ground. If it gets into my aquifer, I got much more problems than trees. I would just have to pack up and leave the state, go somewhere where I can get water. You can't survive without water. And the LSU people say, oh, it's safe, it'll never escape and all that. There's a geologist, Brad LeBlanc. He's the president of Bradford Minerals. He's a senior geoscientist for Sweet Lake Land and Oil. I think it would be beneficial if y'all would get him over there in Houston and give a presentation on this sequestration deal. Because they say it's not going to leak. Well, the very first commercial carbon sequestration plant in Illinois, Decatur, Illinois, and after a few years, it started leaking. Okay, here's another issue. There are other processes coming online that you can use carbon dioxide. There's a professor from LSU, he's a chemical engineering professor, John Flake. He's developed the process, and we're using electrolysis to use CO2 to convert it to ethanol and then potentially some other chemicals and things. And he and some other partners have formed a company called Encore CO2. I read about another really interesting project in Belgium. They developed a process to make bricks. And typically bricks are fired in gas-powered kilns over 1,000 degrees centigrade. Well, his process, they cure these bricks in airtight CO2-filled chambers for 48 hours. No kilns involved.
So is your question like alternative uses? Because we got to get the question in.
Yeah.
Right. Yeah, there's alternative uses.
All right. Let's go ahead and let him address your concerns and talk about that. Thank you for the call. Appreciate it. Okay, Robert, do you want to address those?
Yeah, well, first off, I thank you for that question, and I would commend the caller here for clearly having done a lot of research. I think that's great.
He has. He is.
And I mean, that's really, really good. I would ask the caller to keep an open mind as we bring more information out. Now, that said, let's touch some of the things that he mentioned around alternatives. It is very well known to us around different ways you can utilize CO2. A lot of things have been studied for decades on this, whether it's turning CO2 into things that can be used in the construction industry, concrete industry is looking at this. You mentioned bricks. He's 100% correct. These are not commercially ready technologies, number one. Number two, on those pathways of going in, they don't operate at a scale that is adequate to deal with the project, the scale that we have. But he's very right that there are other things that you can do with CO2. Now, the one other area that he mentioned, and this was the one that I was really impressed that the caller had really researched this so well. CO2, we can make CO2 into ethanol. We can make CO2 into methanol. But it takes hydrogen to do that. And I don't want to get too technical here. It not only does it take hydrogen to do that, it takes a lot of hydrogen to do that. And that hydrogen has to come from electrolyzers. And those electrolyzers use enormous amounts of electricity. And in the current state of the power grid and electricity production, not only in our country, but in almost every place around the world, there is inadequate capacity in the grid and inadequate capacity of power generation to take the hydrogen out of water to be able to combine it with the CO2 to make these fuels. Within a couple of decades, that is going to happen. We absolutely understand that, but at this stage in biofuels, that's not really a viable path forward.
All right, thank you for that question, Robert. We have to take another break. We'll come back with more questions.
Let me ask him. Can you stick around? I know we're keeping you longer than usual. If you got to go, we understand.
Yeah, maybe take one or two more because I actually have some other meetings I had planned back to this.
Okay.
Yeah.
If you got to go, we understand, but we appreciate it.
Yeah.
Okay.
Thank you, sir.
All right. We have just a quick break. We'll be back right after this.
Talkback is sponsored by The Clinics with 27 providers and 3 locations. Someone can see you today. Stick around. More of Talkback is on the way.
You too could have a beautiful smile in as little as 12 weeks. Exclusive to today's Dental in Pineville, Virtual Align Clear Aligners, the fastest, most convenient, affordable way to straighten your teeth for people on the go. Plus, they're invisible. No one will know you're doing it. Experience the Virtual Align difference. Call Today's Dental at 448-4540. It's a general dental facility on Highway 28 East in Pineville, owned by Dr. Jonas Goche. 448-4540.
Tired of being bored?
Then get off the couch and come see Sinlaw.
Join us as the Alexandria Mall celebrates all things summer in their Summer Mode event. Come in Saturday, August 2nd from 1 to 3 for family-friendly activities, giveaways, crafts, and a fun summer movie on the big screen.
Spend a relaxing evening on the patio during Sunset Club, Thursday starting at 6 at Spirits Food and Friends on Texas Avenue. Bring your friends for great food and drinks accompanied by great live music.
Got an event coming up this summer? Log on to explorealexandriapineville.com and post your info on their events calendar. Let everybody know what you've got going on for free.
Ready to laugh? Then come to Huckleberry Brewing Company on Friday night, August 8th, and catch New York comedian Neil Rubenstein. She's a hoot. Get the details on Huckleberry Brewing's Facebook page.
And Law Broadcasting,
keeping you informed.
It's Talk Track 970 AM, 104.9 FM, KSYL.
Hey, we want to thank Robert Rigdon for his time with us, the CEO of SunGas, and we're going to get one more question in here before we let him go. Good morning, you're on Talkback.
Yeah, my question for you, Mr. Robert, my dad was a biologist, and he said these trees and stuff will take that and turn it into oxygen. And my only other question is that are y'all getting these federal tax credits to do all of this stuff? And if the federal tax credits are taken away, will you still do it? Thank you.
All right, thanks for the call. We appreciate it. All right, go ahead, sir.
Okay, good. Yeah, so first part around the forestry side, and you're talking about the trees and the oxygen. Yeah, so this is part of the what we call the carbon cycle. I won't dwell on that a lot, but you're right. As the normal forestry activities undertake and the new trees grow up, we're putting, that's how we get our oxygen in the atmosphere. This is pretty basic, science that we've all learned. Mm-hmm. But then the carbon comes out of the atmosphere and out of the ground and to form all of the leaves, the branches, the trunks of the trees and so forth. So that's the wood fiber and that's the carbon cycle that we use. And so, yeah, that's absolutely a true part. And I think, what was the second part of that question?
If you don't have those federal tax credits, would there still be a project?
Tax credit. Yeah, so there are tax incentives that are established to encourage the use of CCS and are encouraged to produce hydrogen, particularly the way we're producing hydrogen inside of our project. And those incentives are necessary for any of these projects, not just ours, to go forward. The reason they exist is to be able to allow our country to become competitive in manufacturing next generation fuels. They will not last forever. And it's up to industry. After we build this project, these incentives will start going away very quickly. And then we've got to really sharpen our pencils in ways that we're unable to do right now to be able to bring the cost down, mature our supply chain, bring the cost down, sharpen our designs so that we no longer need the incentives. But they're there for the sake of building our country's capability to manufacture something like next generation biofuels at large scale.
Gotcha. One question I've gotten from people, they've asked me, is your parent company doing any other projects around the country like this? And I know you have a current project in the Chicago area, correct? And then other projects that you've done are pretty much been overseas?
Oh, great question. In our company, we are focused only on doing the Beaver Lake project with our investment dollars. We provide technology to other companies, by the way, that are wanting to do the same thing. Mm-hmm. But for our investment, we're what you're referring to, Chicago, is the original pilot units for our technology. It's not a project.
Okay.
And there is no other project that we are developing or energizing the country at all right now. We are committed to this project. We are not. We, as a company here for Beaver Lake and SunGas, we are committed, and we've got a lot of work to do to be able to make sure that the economics pencil out and that we can raise the funds for the project to go forward. But as a team and as a business, we're all in on this. We're very committed to.
Did we lose you?
You still there?
Yeah, I'm here. Can you hear me?
Yeah, you cut out for just a second. You just said you're very committed.
Yeah, we're very committed to the as a company to the Beaver Lake project. We have no other investment projects going on in the U.S. at all.
Gotcha. Okay. Well, I'm glad I asked that question then.
Yeah.
So,
well, thanks so much. I know we kept you longer than I agreed to, but I really appreciate you spending some time with us. We'd love to have you back on.
Enjoyed it, gentlemen, and love to come back maybe sometime in the future.
Thank you. Thank you much.
For sure.
Count on that. All right. Robert Rigdon, CEO of SunGas Renewables, our guest here on Talkback. And we'll take a break. Steve and I will be right back.
Talkback is sponsored by The Clinics with 27 providers and 3 locations. Someone can see you today. Stick around. More of Talkback is on the way.
Imagine walking where land meets sea, where every step echoes centuries of stories. This is the Portuguese coastal Camino de Santiago. From Porto's riverside charm to Galicia's wild coast, follow a path through fishing villages, ancient chapels, and windswept beaches. Walk the Camino, feel the call. It's more than a journey, it's a transformation. Join our small group, escorted by Christine and Father Joy in May of 2026. FreedomTravelLLC.com, your international travel architects.
Attention all real estate agents, property owners, and lenders. When you or a client needs a real estate attorney, call the professionals at Thompson Law Firm. Whether the legal matter is basic or complex, the Thompson Law Firm can accurately guide you or your client to a successful outcome. That's why numerous industry professionals have trusted the Thompson Law Firm for years. They also handle estate planning, successions, and business law. Call them at 473-0052. I am a paid non-client attorney spokesperson.
970 AM, 104.9 FM, KSYO. To take part in the show, call 442-8255. That's 442-TALK.
All right, we are back here on Talkback. Alan Stephen with you. Hang on a second. Got to get back to sitting down. I was trying to explain something with our
We're all
phone
discombobulated.
system. Yeah.
Well, I was telling Al he was doing all this magic with the phones, and I was like, well, if you don't show up one day, I'm going to be in trouble because I'm just passenger princess over here.
Well, fortunately, Nathan knows how to do it. If Dave Grayson is ever here, he knows how to do it. Obviously, he's the czar.
So you don't need me is what you're saying.
It's good to learn. It's good to learn. So Trish used to do it once in a while. Of course, Sandra did as well. But, yeah, it's just a matter of hitting the right button, which the first time with a caller, I hit the wrong button, and then we lost him. But he called back right away.
Q93, when I was, DJing there almost full time back in the day. It was a lot more complicated, and there's like so many different buttons and stuff. And
right.
I had my moments where I was on the air and I didn't know it. So.
That happens.
Yep. I was coughing for like 3 minutes one time.
Oh, wow.
People were like, hey, what are you doing?
Yeah, and sometimes, you'll go to a break if you have someone on the line. What you don't want to do is leave the phone up.
Oh.
Because then they'll hear, like, you think you're off air, but it's still going through the phone.
That's good to
I learned
know.
that the hard way.
Uh-oh. Well, it was a good conversation.
It was.
I mean, it's a lively topic. It's something that's going to continue. Of course, we're going to have, that meeting in DeVille where there's going to be some concerned citizens as well. But here at KSYL, we want to make sure we're fair, balanced, get both sides of the issue out there because it's a very, very complicated issue.
I think, isn't there a meeting coming up for Kincaid Lake as well?
I have to remind myself on that one.
Let me see if I can see. Somebody sent me a text. It might be... But
I'm going to get some clips of that interview, post them on my Facebook page, Similar Broadcasting, and KSYL's Facebook pages.
I'm hearing there's going to be one at Tunks on August 18th.
Oh, that's right. Yes.
Because there's a permit that's been filed for an injection well on Kincaid Lake.
Okay.
That one I think will get a lot of attention.
I think you're right. It'll be interesting to see the different sides of that one too, because it's a very, economically diverse area out there too. So.
Got a text from someone. Thanks for the interview. I'm one of the few people neutral on this carbon capture issue. I'm still gathering info from places like KS Wild that has both sides. Thanks for doing this.
Oh, good.
So that's what we try to do. And then tomorrow, Greg Upton, you mentioned, will be on?
Greg Upton will be here. He's a LSU scientist. He was at the Pineville meeting, and he's just going to answer your questions about concerns you might have on the safety of it and the process of everything, the permits, and if you disagree, you can call in and talk with him about it.
Is he related to the Alexandria Greg?
Can't tell you.
Okay.
Well, I always think about that.
Yeah.
He is from the area.
Yeah, because when you said we're having Greg Upton, I'm like, oh, we're going to talk about Gata? Or
Yeah.
So.
No, he's from the area.
Yeah. All right. Well, good.
Yeah.
So doing our due diligence to give our audience the information that they need on many, many issues and topics. And of course, we always appreciate the phone call. Speaking of which, we've got one coming in now. And let's go to that. Good morning. You're on Talkback.
Look, I don't see the connection between this carbon capture injection well stuff, and money for research to build new biofuels. Why don't they just give the money to the biofuels company to research biofuels?
Why don't they just get the
give the money to companies to research biofuels instead of carbon capture in the ground?
Oh, okay.
Yeah, I think it's the global market, right?
Yeah, it's being dictated by market forces. If they produce a biofuel that scores low in terms of carbon friendly, then they can't really sell it on the international market. So honestly, what they're being dictated by are the people that believe in climate change and that carbon is bad for the environment, bad for the atmosphere. So that's a whole other debate, obviously. So
that's the holdup for a lot of people, I'm assuming.
Yeah, and that's where a lot of the Q45 tax credits come from. It's all kind of related. Now, this is just me talking. I don't think there's anything wrong with developing biofuels. And if they can be a cost-effective way of using, such as byproducts from the timber industry, we have quite a bit of timber industry in this area with plywood plants in Oakdale and, Oregon Strand Board, I think it is, right? But, Rigdon made the point, and I agree, that we're seeing paper mills close around the country. The market has changed. And we just had this up in the Natchitoches area, and look at the impact that that's creating. They've even had to close a school now because that tax base is gone, and where are all those workers going? So I always thought alternative fuels is a good idea if it can be done in a cost-effective manner.
Yeah, it's just the CCS issue. I mean, a lot of people just don't like it, and there's going to be that battle moving forward.
But if you can do something with the carbon other than putting it in the ground, then I think it's a real win-win. Now, once you put it in the ground, I'm told you can't get it out. So
yeah, and he answered those questions too, so if you want to listen to what he says about it, you can. We'll have it on the YouTube page.
All right, another call. Good morning, you're on Talkback.
Yeah, with your one call mandate, I keep forgetting to call to mention something.
Okay.
You'll hear these ads on television about turning in your car, turning in your old boat, turning in whatever you want to turn in, and you'll get a tax credit. The problem with the tax credit is, as I appreciate it, the tax credit is only good if you itemize your income.
Right. Most people will take the standard deduction, so they probably would never need that.
Well, true, but it basically cons people into believing that they're going to get some kind of tax credit. And even an old clunker, if you can get it to the junkyard, it's probably worth a couple $100.
Yeah, that's true. That's true.
So, I guess your point about biofuels, if they're cost effective,
right?
Have you ever looked at the issue of gasohol and how much fossil fuel it takes to produce the corn, to produce the alcohol, to mix in with the gasoline?
Well, it's kind of like electric vehicles. How much energy does it take to produce the electricity that supposedly is saving on the gasoline, right? I mean, still, when you boil it all down, it's hard to beat the economic value, the productivity value, the accessibility value of fossil fuels.
Yeah, well, I guess people are just going to have to change their habits. If fuel gets expensive enough to warrant it.
Yeah. I've even heard, like, you can run diesel off of recycled cooking oils.
Yeah, and it's supposed to smell like French fries when it goes by.
We're driving down the street, making everyone hungry.
Yeah, well, anyway, where there's a will, there's a way. I mean, at one time, I'm associated to a degree with people in Finland. And after World War II, my friend talked about going to school in a bus that was powered by turnips.
Wow. That's interesting. Turnips.
Well, it's basically the Stanley steamer type situation where you basically cook something that creates steam, and that steam is what drives the vehicle.
Okay. Huh.
And as a matter of fact, the only reason why Stanley steamers didn't win out over gasoline, according to something that I read, was that they got a Stanley steamer up to 104 miles an hour at Daytona, and because it had a flat underside, it got airborne and almost killed the driver. And so they decided that they weren't going to pursue vehicle.
Gotcha.
But anyway, enjoy this show. Thank you.
Thank you. Yeah. Thanks for all the great calls today.
Yep. We'll have LSU scientist Mr. Upton on tomorrow. So
And I have been told that he is the son of the attorney, Craig Upton.
That's what I was thinking, because I knew he was from this area.
Yep.
That makes sense.
Yeah, so thanks for the information. Appreciate that, sir. All right, we'll see you tomorrow.
Listening to Talkback. The opinions expressed were those of the hosts and callers, and not necessarily those of